Once upon a time in the quiet countryside of Devon there lay a forest unlike any other known to the locals. As the whispering woods, the forest was shrouded in mystery, for it was said that the trees whispered secrets to those who dared to enter. Many had heard the tales, but few had the courage to venture into its depths, fearing the unknown that lay within. One day a young boy named Oliver found himself drawn to the forest. Oliver was an adventurous soul, always seeking new challenges, and the stories of the whispering woods fascinated him. He had heard the old tales of strange voices and eerie lights deep within the woods. But unlike others, these tales did not scare him, they intrigued him. He decided that he would be the one to discover the truth behind the whispers. Early one morning, as the sun was just beginning to rise, Oliver packed his small rucksack with some food, a flashlight, and his trusty compass. Determined to uncover the secrets of the woods, he waved goodbye to his grandmother, who lived with him in a little cottage by the edge of the forest. Her eyes filled with worry as she watched him go. She had warned him many times of the dangers that lurked in the woods, but Oliver was set on his path. The forest was quiet as Oliver stepped in. The tall trees loomed overhead, their branches twisting together to form a canopy that blocked out most of the sunlight. The air was cool and damp, and the ground was covered in a thick layer of fallen leaves that crunched softly under his feet. As he walked, Oliver couldn't help but feel a chill run down his spine. But he pressed on, determined not to be swayed by fear. As Oliver ventured deeper, he began to hear the faint sound of whispers. They were soft, barely audible at first, like the rustling of leaves in the wind. But as he moved further in, the whispers grew louder and more distinct. Though he could not make out the words, it was clear that the voices were not just the wind playing tricks on him. Oliver's heart raced with a mix of excitement and unease as he followed the sound. The whispers seemed to be guiding him deeper into the woods, leading him down narrow, winding paths that twisted and turned in ways that made no sense. Oliver soon found himself in a part of the forest he had never seen before. The trees here were older, their trunks thick and gnarled, covered in a moss that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. The air was heavy and still, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. Oliver continued to follow the whispers until he came upon a small clearing. In the center of the clearing stood an ancient oak tree, its branches reaching high into the sky like the arms of a giant. It was the largest tree Oliver had ever seen. Its bark was dark and twisted, and its roots spread out across the ground like the fingers of some enormous hand. As Oliver approached the tree, the whispers suddenly stopped, leaving an eerie silence in their wake. He stood before the great oak, staring up at its massive trunk, when he noticed something strange. Carved into the bark of the tree were symbols unlike anything he had ever seen. They seemed to glow faintly in the dim light of the clearing. Oliver reached out to touch one of the symbols, and as his fingers brushed against the bark, a strange feeling washed over him. It was as if the tree was alive and aware of his presence. Suddenly, the ground beneath Oliver's feet began to tremble. The tree's branches shook and the whispers returned, louder and more urgent than before. Oliver stumbled back, his heart pounding in his chest. As he watched the symbols on the tree begin to glow brighter, he felt a strange pull, as if the tree was calling to him, urging him to come closer. But he hesitated, unsure of what would happen if he did. The whispers grew louder and louder, filling the clearing with a cacophony of voices that seemed to come from all directions. Oliver covered his ears, but the whispers were inside his head, echoing through his mind. He could hear snatches of words, names, places, things that made no sense to him. But one word stood out above all the rest: Devon, Devon, Devon. The voices chanted over and over again. Oliver knew that he had to do something. He couldn't just stand there and let the whispers consume him. He reached into his rucksack and pulled out his flashlight, shining it on the tree. The light seemed to cut through the darkness, illuminating the symbols on the bark. As the light touched the tree, the whispers began to fade until there was nothing but silence once more. Oliver took a deep breath, relieved that the noise had stopped. But as he stood there catching his breath, he noticed something even stranger happening. The symbols on the tree were changing, shifting into a new pattern that formed a map. Oliver stared at it in awe, realizing that the map was of the very forest he was standing in, and at the center of the map, marked with a glowing symbol, was a hidden location somewhere deep within the woods. Driven by curiosity, Oliver knew he had to find the location marked on the map. He set off once more, using the map as his guide. The forest seemed different now, as if it was watching him. With every step he took, the trees creaked and groaned, their branches swaying even when there was no wind. But Oliver pressed on, determined to uncover the secrets that lay hidden within. After what felt like hours of walking, Oliver finally reached the spot marked on the map. It was another clearing, but this one was different. In the center stood a stone pedestal covered in the same strange symbols that had been on the tree. and resting atop the pedestal was a small wooden box intricately carved with patterns that seemed to shift and change as he looked at them. Oliver hesitated for a moment before reaching out to touch the box. It was warm to the touch, and as he lifted it from the pedestal, the forest around him seemed to come alive. The trees swayed, the ground trembled, and the whispers returned louder than ever. But this time, they were not threatening, they were welcoming. Oliver opened the box to find a small key and a rolled-up parchment inside. The parchment was old and brittle, and as Oliver carefully unrolled it, he realized that it was a letter. It was addressed to the keeper of the Whispering Woods, and it spoke of an ancient duty to protect the secrets of the forest. The key Oliver held was the key to the heart of the woods, a place where magic and nature were one. The letter ended with a warning to guard the key well, for the safety of Devon depended on it. Oliver knew then that he had been chosen as the new keeper of the Whispering Woods. He felt a sense of pride and responsibility. As he placed the key around his neck, the whispers faded into a soft murmur, and the forest seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, as if it had found its new guardian. Oliver returned home that evening with the knowledge that the woods would forever be a part of him. From that day on, Oliver watched over the Whispering Woods, protecting its secrets, and listening to the whispers that guided him through the forest. He knew that the woods were alive with a magic that was ancient and powerful, and he was proud to be a part of it. Though the villagers continued to speak of the strange whispers that filled the forest, they no longer feared them, for they knew that Oliver the Keeper was watching over them. And so the Whispering Woods of Devon remained a place of mystery and wonder, a forest where the trees whispered secrets to those who were willing to listen, and where the spirit of adventure lived on in the heart of a young boy who dared to follow the whispers into the unknown. Subscribe and share. Thanks for watching. If you like our story, please subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends. Stay tuned for more exciting adventures and stories.